and welcome to Live Disassociation. And this is my favorite disassociation ever because I have four names on my thing here. It's a family that lives together. And hello, Melina,
Hi.
tell us your story. Why did you join the Jehovah Witnesses?
Well, joined it. I was basically born into it, as we say. My father was the cream of the crop. He was a Bethelite who married a pioneer up in New York, came down to Texas, and everything, all my mom's life of hell started from then on out.
Yeah.
So we were raised, sorry, didn't mean to say that. I apologize. But I was born into it, and my father was an elder at the time. And my mom pioneered off and on and was a silent, submissive wife. And so I grew up around it, always embedded and indoctrinated in it. I left um, when I was a teenager, about 17, went back, but always with the mindset like this was the truth. Like that
You,
never
you
left.
believed in it.
Yeah. And then so I left, did and would make attempts to come back. Um, and then I finally, when I was 30 and getting divorced, I said, I have no excuse because I married out of the truth. And, but I ended up pregnant, of course. And then I got this fellowship, even though I was trying to go back and had not been living as a witness. They felt it was necessary to disfellowship me. Okay. Um, so a couple of years later, I decided to go back because of what was happening with my oldest. I was like, well, my kids need Jesus. We need Jesus. We need the truth. And so in 2014, me and my family like went back full force.
Did they try to guilt trip you, like use your kids against you, like your kid's gonna die in Armageddon and it's your fault?
Oh, the whole time when I would be out, like when I would run into friends or family, I have two aunts that are very spiritually strong pioneers for like 20, 30 years, their whole lives. They're married to elders that are like assembly parts. One's a Bethelite, what do you call remote Bethelite? He runs the No Blood Committee.
Ah,
You
blood
know,
police.
yeah, he's the
Suicide
blood
squad, we
police.
call them.
Yes, and actually, it's really sad because he was the closest thing I had to a father because of
Mm.
the way my father was. But of course, now they want I'm dead to them. But anyways, so it was always you're going to kill your kids. I would be driving down the street when I was out. All the time I was out, I'd be driving down the street and I'd start crying because if Armageddon came right now, I'm going to die and my kids are going to die, and it's all my fault. So
Mm.
yeah, that was always a thing that I lived with, no matter what. And even going back, of course, trying to live up. Um, I Hi, everybody's posting stuff. Wow, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now,
I
don't
don't
be
know this.
nervous. I see you're nervous. We spoke earlier, and
Yeah.
as soon as the camera started, you're nervous. She has a
Yeah,
good story to tell, so just
I
keep
really
talking.
do. But so in 2014 when I went back, we went to that it was our 100th anniversary or something. We went to a big convention. My son, who had always, it was kind of like in his heart, he always wanted to go. He was like, next year when he saw the baptism, that's going to be me. And I was like, okay, I'm doing something right. My kids, even though we haven't been consistent, they want to do it, and they're all for it and everything. And I even held my son back a little bit because I didn't want him to make the same mistakes I made. I was
Mm.
always doing it for the wrong reason, to make my dad happy, because the only time my dad talked to me was when, or about me, was if I was doing something for Jehovah. Like I would run into people. I never saw my dad because he was always at the quick builds. And but oh, your dad brags about you, blah blah blah, this and that. Like that was the only thing that ever happened, was if I did something for Joe. But I didn't want my kids to feel like that, so I really tried to do things different. So, and I didn't like yeah, so cute. I didn't harp on my kids as bad. And but we moved forward. Like my son ended up getting baptized and my daughter got baptized. We started pioneering. um, we even joined a foreign language group. By then I
What
was
language?
already
What language?
Japanese.
Ah,
My son had gone to Japan with his best friend and their family when he was like 14, I think. And so he loved it. He loved anything Japanese. So it was something for him to at least be happy doing, you know. He always wanted to go back to Japan. At least he'd be learning the language. And so even though I was already waking up, we still joined, you know, to be with our friends, because that's what it was about. That's all it was community and friends, because everything else was basically BS that you had to deal with. But we really did try. When I went back, though, I really worked hard to teach my kids, like my parents never did. My mom was dealing with so much trauma from my dad and their marriage. And so I wanted things to be different for my kids in the truth. You know, they got to have friends. They got to do lots of things. You know, and I was just trying to give them a better life. I thought that's what I was doing. So, but yeah, so that was what
did you really believe it more than the fear? Like, did you have Jehovah in your heart?
When I went back in 2014, yes, I believed it. I felt like, and I would tell people in teaching my kids, that's what made me stronger spiritually, you know, like it hit me, you know, like let me give you an example real quick. When I was talking to my kids about why I was disfellowship, because remember, we're going back and I'm disfellowship at this time because I had my daughter. So nobody's speaking to me. So my two little kids are having to understand why nobody talks to mommy at the meeting. And so I had to tell them, like, you know, well, Jehovah, you know, like with the Israelites, he warned them. And then finally he, you know, put him in timeout, basically. Said, Jehovah put me in timeout. And that's how I explained it to my kids. So, yeah, it really did hit me. Like my cousin tells me, she's like, you really gave it your all. Like you really believed it. And I believe the spiritual aspect of it, that we needed to be like Jesus, that we needed to treat people the way we wanted to be treated, you know, those things. But then the problem was I started to see everything else around me and question things.
So you tried with 2014, you tried to come back.
I got reinstated on Christmas of 2014. Oh. They made me wait a year to come back, to reinstate.
Yeah.
Of coming back.
Well, I was thinking about saying it's not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable for being them.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, it's Jehovah roulette. If you meet a nice congregation like out here where I lived, I was a part of starting this congregation. Actually, it was like isolated territory. I moved out here in some other, and we had an elder. He was just, if someone wants to come back to Jehovah, he would be reinstated as soon as it was possible to lick a stamp on an envelope.
How it works over here.
That was his mindset. And people came from all of Norway to be reinstated in this congregation. He was like, of course, I can't judge you. And well, he was replaced by another man to be elder that I would call a sociopath, but that's a different story. But
no, that's not the case.
And sorry, your kids and you started pioneering.
Yeah, we started pioneering. Me and my son went to pioneer school together. My kids homeschool. I managed money really good because I'm really good with that. And I was able to make it work on my part-time schedule. I had a good job that allowed me to work part flexible. So we pioneered. I mean, that was the thing to do. Simplify your life. Give it all to the organization. Really is what they want you to do. Like, they want you to keep your eyes simple while you give all the money to them, is what I ended up noticing.
But your kids basically shunned, and then they went from being shunned to being pioneers?
No, they weren't being shunned. We would go to the meetings, and they would not talk to me. They would talk to my kids.
And they were love bombed then?
Of course.
Okay, then I get it.
Of course. And so my kids started making friends and then when I got reinstated, we went full force. They had lots of friends, and you know, the sense of community is essentially what ended up keeping my kids in all the while. They're friends. That's what did it. But yeah, like we got reinstated, and then we went to go serve in a congregation where they didn't have a very big hall. And then the merger happened. I don't remember the year of the mergers, but when they started merging all the congregations, that was a flag for me. I was like, what's going on? Like, this is weird. Like, and the way things were handled at that time, it was like, um, sorry, distraction. It was like, oh, this is all Jehovah's Holy Spirit, and you need to be obedient, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. And that's where now looking back, I see like that is the kind of brainwashing. Like, you need to be obedient no matter what they say. And
Yeah.
it
Listen,
wasn't
obey, and be blessed.
right. Listen, obey, and be blessed. And that's the only way you're going to be blessed is if you're doing what those guys are telling you to do. And those guys, who knows what the hell they're doing behind closed doors.
Well,
So
no one knows what people do behind closed doors.
true. No, but I mean, the thing is they're able to condemn you. And ultimately that was it, is every time I tried to think that my bad thoughts were getting in the way of my relationship with Jehovah or whatever, once things started, I started waking up. You know, you hear a part in the meeting that says, pray to Jehovah and pour your heart out and he will forgive you. But then they give you that asterisk or that little, but not until you talk to those elders.
Yeah.
Those men are the ones that get to decide your salvation to God. And that's it. That's something that's embedded in you and it's hard to let go of.
Yeah. I try to, when I explain it to worldly people, I try to say that imagine that everything goes through a Jehovah filter. I love my wife, not because my wife, I love Jehovah and Jehovah loves my wife. So, and you know, everything goes through a Jehovah filter. So when you remove Jehovah, then you remove the relation. Is that a good way of describing it? I use
Yeah,
it because worldly people understand it, that all your relationships go
yeah.
through a Jehovah filter.
They do go through Jehovah, but the thing is Watchtower tells you you can't get to him unless you're clear with these men.
Yeah. Yeah, so
You
they
have
control the Jehovah
they're
filter.
that filter. They're the filter to Jehovah or Jesus because you get to you have to talk to them.
Yes. So my little
So
friend wants to sleep here. Should I put you on the floor? Yeah. So, but your kids started pioneering. So I noticed in America when I talk to Americans, kids often get baptized when they're around 12. In
yeah,
when I grew up in
that's an
Sweden,
average.
everyone got baptized around 16. If you got baptized when you were 12, you were like a super spiritual
Oh my gosh,
person.
they've got some over here at 6 and 8 years old now. You
Yeah, I
hear
noticed
people
there's a
bragging
big
about it.
difference between Scandinavia and America to begin with. I
Mm-hmm.
remember it was quite common that people spoke that you're not old enough when you're 16. That people didn't like it. So 16 was the average age when I was a kid. All my siblings and me were baptized when I was 16. And in Scandinavia, in Sweden, Sweden and Finland, we don't have to do military service if you're a Jehovah Witness. So therefore, if
Oh,
you're a brother, you don't want to be baptized when you're 18 because then they will gossip and say he only did it so he would not go to jail.
so you
Because
had to do it
if
before.
you're 18 and if you're a brother in Sweden and Finland and you're 18 years old, you actually have to choose between being baptized or go to jail, unless you're ready to leave everything and go straight to the army.
Right.
Which is, I have to make a video about that, because when the government is lenient like they are in Scandinavia, try to be nice to everyone, they actually give the elders powers. I was told repeatedly when I was a Jehovah Witness, either you do what the elders tell you or you go to jail. And that was a real alternative. If you're disfellowshipped as an 18-year-old male in Sweden, you go to jail.
Well, over here it's you do what the elders tell you or else. I mean,
Yeah, but
or else you're
literally, because
ruined.
if you're
But
18
yeah,
years
that's an
old
even
and
greater
you get
threat.
disfellowshipped, the Jehovah Witnesses will send a letter to the military that this guy is no longer a Jehovah Witness and he's eligible for the army. So unless you're willing to leave the organization and go to the army, you go to jail for smoking a cigarette.
Oh my god.
So,
Wow.
but
Wow.
that's a different
They really
video.
hold
So,
you.
but how old were your kids when they got disfellowshipped? Sorry for
Well,
interrupting.
I don't know. We'll probably get this fellowship after this live feed. I don't, as far as I know, it hasn't happened yet.
No, I
Um,
meant when they started pioneering, because
oh,
that
pioneering. My son was 12 and my daughter was 12, 13. 12. No, 12. They were both 12, same age. They both got baptized about 11. Jordan says she only got baptized so she could beat her brother's age. She got baptized like right a couple months younger than him. So yeah. But they were about that age. They were 11, 12 years old when they started. So my son is 18 now. My daughter is 14 now. And then I have a 10-year-old daughter.
Okay, and she's not baptized.
No, she's an unbaptized publisher.
Yeah, but we will disassociate her too. So this
She's
is
fine
my
with that.
favorite
They treated her
disassociation.
like
It's so lovely with the family living together and Watchtower not ripping them apart.
Yeah, no, they were not going to rip me apart because that was the actual only reason why I was staying in, was because I was so sure that my son wanted it still, like an idiot. I thought my son was so in, like mentally in, and I figured my middle one would leave. I figured my youngest, I stopped trying to teach my youngest. I actually the day that I had to send my daughter out of the room because the way the pervert was talking on the computer at the top, and I couldn't stand having my like 9-year-old kid sit here or 8-year-old kid sit here and listen to this crap at like 9 a.m. I was like, man, this is bogus. Like
What
this
are
guy's
they talking
talking about anal and oral sex and this and that and going on and on about it. He's never been married. He's telling us when we need to teach our kids about sex. He's talking like he knows what the hell he's talking about when he's never had a child.
Yeah.
And so I was like, my daughter doesn't need to be sitting here listening to this. Oh, and you need to make sure that they know the details of the genital parts and what their functions are. I'm like, at preschool age, I'm like, who are you? For one, you're gay and you won't come out about it. Everybody knows it. You're like 50 years old, live with your parents. And I mean, come on, you want to tell people how to live their lives and run their marriages and raise their kids? Really? Come on.
Yeah.
So I watched that and then I was like, that's it, I'm done. We had all basically checked out of the meetings.
Yeah.
And so we just wanted to keep going until my son's best friend had his wedding, because that was his best friend. That was his first friend when we came into the organization, and he wanted to see him through it. And so we stayed until September of 21, but we were like, not even. When I heard Splain, or whatever his name is, give that part about how you can't listen to anything in the media, listen to anything in the courts, listen to anything in the, like, really? Like, are you not trying to brainwash people even more? Like you are literally sounding like a pedophile.
But that was this year's
Listen
convention.
to only me. That was this year's convention. And I'm like, how do the people I know and love not catch that this is like so bogus? Oh, the courts don't want you to know the truth. The what did he say? The court systems don't want you to know the truth. The judges don't want you to know the truth. The guilty party, just because someone's convicted doesn't mean they're guilty. Really? You're going to say that and have 8 million witnesses watch that. So they're supposed to think that going forward about anybody who gets convicted just because they're guilty. Are you serious? When I heard them say, oh, you can be anything you want to be. You can be a pioneer, an elder, a ministerial servant, a Bethlite, a construction worker, to build us more real estate.
Yeah, God loves real estate.
Yes, and they're just blindly following them, and nobody sees that they are literally worshiping these men. And now they're pushing the vaccine in America. They are pushing the vaccine in the congregations. I have spoken to some people, and they are pushing it. And an elder can be removed if they give their opinion about the vaccine.
There was an elder's letter that says that talking against the vaccine is causing division, and causing division is a disfellowshipping of offense. And I know that because that's why I'm luckily disfellowshipped. I'm disfellowshipped for apostasy and causing division,
But
and was
how
the
much
eldest
more?
letter. And I don't want
Yeah,
to
it
debate
just came
the.
out.
I don't want to debate
No, no,
healthcare
no.
and vaccine with
No, no, no.
Americans
I'm
in
not trying to
general
say
because
that.
they're
I'm just saying those are
crazy.
all personal things that they have no business.
Yeah,
Nobody has
it's not
any
really Jehovah
business.
Witnesses business. I believe in vaccines or in science, and let's not talk about that.
Science
But
is science, but
it's not because the governing body tells me or not tells me, and I don't think that if there's a crazy person that wants to tell everyone that vaccine are bad, he should be allowed to do that and not be
what
disfellowshipped for
freedom of
causing
speech?
division because it's
Freedom
not
of
a
speech.
religious
You
thing.
can't say how you feel, but that's just saying like you cannot in this organization, you cannot say how you truly feel about anything.
No, 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 no.
I couldn't say how I felt about my dad coming out after ruining our lives for 20 years as an elder hiding an affair. I couldn't say anything about that. That's my life. That was the hell we went through. Yes, he really
Yeah, I'm
does
just
love
laughing here.
money.
It says
I
Jehovah
see
loves
it. I
dollar. He's
see it.
just really bad
Good
at
one,
managing
Laura.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
No,
whole
but those
idea
men
that
are
we need to give
handpicked.
money to God is kind of a pagan origin. You know, we can't do this because of pagan origin. We can't do that because of pagan origin. What about
But
giving
we can
money
have
to someone that
bridesmaids.
represent God? Isn't that very, very pagan origin?
Yeah. It's so funny that you bring that up, though. Oh, yeah. I heard about another thing. They had all the congregation send any excess money up north.
Yeah.
Any extra, they can only have so much, right? And then fast forward to a few months later, they're asking the congregation for money because they can't cover it because they sent their savings up to Watchtower. Really? Why should the congregation be suffering? And why are the bills so much, anyways, when nobody's using those kingdom halls?
Yeah.
Anyways, that's neither here or there, but I remember growing up, they would always talk about the tithe and how religions do that. It's like now they don't want the 10th. They want all of it.
Yeah.
They want you to give it all to Jehovah. But who are you really giving it to?
Well, first of all, if Jehovah would need a bank account, he's old enough to have his own bank account. Their whole Jehovah Witness religion is that
Yep,
Jesus appeared invisibly
they are.
and spoke inaudibly to and chose Rutherford and said, "From now on, all my money should be on your bank account." And there's no second witness. The whole religion is based on that Jesus picked them out without any witnesses. He was invisible and spoke inaudible. It's my favorite
Right.
sentence in the American language is Jesus appeared invisible.
I know. I felt like such an idiot when I started looking into it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is why they don't want us to look into it
It's
because
so
it's so
ridiculous.
stupid and ridiculous.
He appeared invisible and
Like, are
told
you
everyone
kidding
that
me?
this guy is in charge of my money now.
When I found out about that building they built in California, are you kidding? That for the profits that are going to be raised, and then I heard from my uncle they were talking in Bethel about building more houses on Watchtower property for the resurrected ones. Seriously? Seriously?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, just another way to get more money. When I found out that they were building a bigger studio after going from the New York, Pennsylvania, whatever studio to the Warwick studio, that was a big increase. So now we're going to build some massive Universal Studios size studio.
Yeah, and one funny
But
thing
let's
with
keep
that,
it simple.
yeah, if you build a studio, you can sell it afterwards because new light and you cash in. That's what they do all the time. But if you think
Look at
about
what
it,
they made on
there was
Brooklyn.
one of these guy that defected from Bethel, and he said how it works. You know, they have a budget, I think, of $5,000 to make a small segment, but the cartoon. And remember, kids love cartoons. They're kind of the
Mhm.
best. They don't cost anything because it's just Bethelite sitting doing it. And
Exactly. It's
uh,
all free,
yeah,
but
so
it's all a write off.
why build this mega center when you actually just need offices that people could even work at home in worst case scenario
And
during the
exactly, I
break.
was about to say, do you really need offices? Because COVID, they're working from home. They're not going out of their rooms or their dorms. Beth
Yeah, it's
Serum,
just
yes, thank you. Thank you, Jean.
so. How did you break the news to your kids that remember I told you this is God's one true organization and everyone gonna die in
Oh my
Armageddon
God.
and
Okay.
everything we hope and dream
Oh,
for everything
we're
we
gonna
told
we're gonna
everyone
go there.
is
You
not
listen. We're gonna go
true
there.
and please don't shun me. How did you break that?
Okay, give me a second. Let me say this first. Going to your kids and admitting that you're wrong is one of the most humbling experiences you can ever have. My parents didn't admit they're wrong.
No?
To this day, my dad won't admit he's wrong. So I had been kind of going off and going on dates and stuff, and I decided, screw this. I wasn't going to live life alone anymore and miserable. And so I was lying to my kids, and I hated lying to my kids because anyone who knows me knows that I was pretty open with my kids about stuff, and we had a really good relationship, or somewhat. So I thought, at least, as better than other JWs, I will say. But so I went to my daughter first, actually, and it was like, duh, you know. Yes, I did. I admitted I was wrong. I admitted I was wrong. I guess I'm not really a GW, not real ones. So I told her, because I didn't know how to go. I didn't want to just take away every faith she might have had. So I told her, I just strongly believe that we don't answer to these men, that we answer to God. And with everything that's gone on, I can't get behind it anymore. Something along that lines. But I wanted to know how she felt, so I let her do a lot of the talking, because I didn't really want to influence anything about how she felt. And she finally came out like, of course, she'd been miserable. She hated it. She hated service. She hated getting up early. She hated her friends that used her to get out of their house to come to our house. It's just the elders. She was a feminist. My daughter's a feminist who didn't understand why the only thing we could ever do was pioneer. We couldn't give talks. We couldn't pray. She thought it was stupid that I had to answer to my son, who was 12 when he was an elder, and put a thing over my head. Like, it all came out. She cried to me that she wanted to go to college. She wanted to be a surgeon. She wanted to be a doctor. And that when she brought it up or talked about it or heard people, they would laugh about the idea of going away to school, how it was so bad. Yes, that I'm getting to that actually. So I'm really glad you brought that up. So, and, so we talked for a long time. She cried. I cried. I promised her she would never have to set foot in a Kingdom Hall again. And then she was like, just talk to Isaiah. My best friend who left at the same Armageddon. My best friend who left at the same time, basically, we were coming out at the same time, just didn't know it. She was like, you need to talk to your kids. She's the one that like really pushed me to talk to my kids. So my daughter went and talked to my son, and then we came together. And this is what my son said as to what your guest, or what they just said. He said he felt like we learned a lot from the Bible. We learned a lot about morals and how to live, and that the Bible taught us a lot of good things that we can apply in our day-to-day life. But we all agreed as a family that we didn't need these hypocrites telling us how the hell to live our lives or what was the truth. So we made a plan as a family. And it wasn't just that one night, I have to tell you. It's been a continuous of apologies and trying to, I don't know how to say, make it. My kids don't make me feel like I have to make anything up for them, but I have to live with the fact that I wasted the last 7 years of their lives, or 14 to, almost 7 years of their lives.
Yeah.
It's not something that's easy to live with. Like, I just cried to my daughter yesterday about it, because I know And now we're doing things differently, and I have to remind myself and I have to remind them that we're 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 doing things different, and it's going to take a while. But so yeah, we made a plan, and then we talked to my little one, and my little one, my 9-year-old, she was like, well, they're all mean anyways, I don't want to be a witness. She had some of the ugliest experiences as a child with some of these families.
Okay.
My youngest, and I had, obviously I had those experiences too, because as a mother I had to fight for my daughter and deal with them. And yes, I do too. I really worry about some of the kids that I did help, because now I'm like, damn it, I helped some of them become unbaptized publishers. And, um, I really regret it. One of them was my daughter's best friend. And when she said bye to her, that was a really hard thing. And, now she's completely brainwashed, who knows, maybe she'll wake up one day. But,
Big chance she will.
yeah, you never know. Um, so we made the plan, and the kids have come out of their shell. No thing, it's not a free for all with my family, because we're not witnesses. I've been a single mom. I've had to, run my family, and even though we've been close, there's still rules and stuff, but I've always been more understanding than some others witnesses. So, which is another reason why people didn't like me.
Can you repeat that?
I've always been a little bit more lenient or lax with my kids than other witnesses. They'll be like, oh, I don't allow that. Or, oh, no, they can't watch Marvel, or they can't, stupid stuff like Star Wars or whatever. People will be judgy, and I was the bad mom.
Probably that's what saved them, because for me it sounds like you had pioneer. You were disfellowshipped and you were shunned, and you normalized it while they were being love bombed. So it's easy for them to remember that shunning is correct and equals love bombing. So it could have really backfired on you, that the
Yeah.
kid were like, this is a test of my loyalty. I go to Kingdom
No,
Hall,
thank God
I
my
will be
kids.
love bombed, I will go up to conventions, I will be the superhero, and Mama likes it because she told me.
No, I
So it could
was
have
scared
really
though.
backfired.
It could have. It really could have, because I was afraid that I was going to lose my son. And he was the one that I was afraid of losing all along, because it seemed like he had a part every assembly. They always had him up there on the stage, pioneering since he was 12, 5, 6 years already, foreign language group. So, I was scared, but I was so glad that my son he had even applied to a school out of city to go to, so that he could get away from it. But then when we all came around about everything, he canceled moving out of city. And then we moved as a family from my house that I own, because we wanted to get away from our community, our neighborhood, to another house, a bigger house across town, so we could get away from everybody. So we made a plan to move away. Love never fails. Yeah, that's a bunch over there. Yeah, they don't have any love. Um, but yeah, so that's what we did. And so when my kids talked to their friends, they decided, of course, it got out, and they removed us as pioneers from 1 week to the next, without ever talking to us, because of the conversation my daughter had with her friend about about Adam and Eve, and about how women aren't allowed to do anything, and they couldn't find anything on jw.org as to why women, and yet there were prophets, women were judges, but women can't do anything in the congregation. So the little girl was quiet about it, I guess, until my daughter said bye to her other little friend, the one that we had helped become a publisher. And then those two little girls talked and labeled my daughter an apostate. They said my daughter was sharing apostate information. So when I text one of the girls' moms, I said, what apostate information, when they were on jw.org? Really? So then the mom wanted to talk to me, and she's like, let's Zoom call or come over. Really? No. First, tell me what my daughter said. And they couldn't tell me. So I left that. My son, on the other hand, after the wedding, he messaged all his friends. He said, I don't want to be a witness. I don't really want to talk about it. I love you all. It's your decision, not mine. You know, you live your lives. They all unfriended him. Some of them sent some ugly stuff. Um, and then by the next day, everybody that knew him, aside from the 4 friends, had unfriended him. So they were basically shunned by just the way witnesses love to spread it.
Yeah.
Then my mom's phone started blowing up. What's going on with Melina and the kids? She said, why don't you call them? My mom's going through a divorce after 40 years of trauma and abuse. And all they can do is, and cancer, all they can do is call her and find out what the gossip is about her daughter who left the truth. Nobody's trying to see, hey, Rosie, can we bring you something? Do you need anything? Do you need help getting to the doctor now that you're on your own? Do you need anything? Nobody gives a shit.
No, it's mostly about what's good for Watchtower. Everything is what's good for Watchtower.
Mm-hmm. It was the same thing when we were pioneering, and that was part of my waking up when they didn't let us use the Kingdom Hall and made us go to people's homes during the week.
Save money.
Yeah, but yet they wanted more money, and they were selling Brooklyn for millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So
that's
there were a
I
lot
remember
of
you
things that
were
helped
super
awaken me.
angry about this service. We call it service groups in English.
The service
Meeting for
groups.
field service.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we had to be obedient. Oh yeah, did I tell you about the accident? Right?
Yeah, you instead of going to the Kingdom Halls, it sounds like someone did the numbers and said, if we don't
Oh, this
turn on
little
the
guy.
light in the Kingdom Hall, we save $1, and therefore we should
Mm-hmm.
have the service meeting in private homes instead, which
Yeah,
is a stupid business strategy
and
because the
then
little you save, you lose in disgruntled apostates, like
myself.
obviously.
So the congregation we moved into, we get this really rambunctious young wannabe circuit overseer who's now serving as a circuit overseer.
Yeah, it
He
works.
calls everybody nephew, but there were the Jenkins were these completely fake. They the most fake people. Oh, how you doing? Blah blah blah. And my kids fell for it. They thought they were very nice people. They bought it. My kids were love bombed by my kids. My kids were love bombed by the Jenkins. Anyways, so these
Please
people.
don't. I don't know if that's a name, but don't identify people just in general.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
So
sorry. So this couple, he comes in as our service overseer or whatever, and he says we need to meet at people's houses. We need to save on electricity, whatever. So they start doing that, right? They start on Monday. We're going to meet at this family's house, and then we're going to meet over here, and it's all over the place. So what happens when they forget to send a text out? What happens when that family's sick? Nobody knows where you're going. Every week you don't know where you're going to meet. The most ridiculous thing. And then on the most busiest day, they would have us meet at this ministerial servant's house, and his poor wife, who gets anxiety and overwhelmed, would have to be all freaked out cleaning and even though she was a stay-at-home mom, bless her heart, it was her anxiety. She just couldn't. It was a lot all the time having people over. Well, they lived in this small house that was about 1,000 square feet, and the street was even smaller, and everybody would double park illegally around this round street. I'm from Texas, San Antonio. And so when I came in one day, they were all parked. I had picked up people because I always picked up people. And I backed up and I accidentally hit a sister's car. So, of course, I freaked out. I apologized. You can't call the police because that would look bad on Jehovah, right? All these cars double parked? Nope, can't do it. So a couple that I know have run a body shop. They are great. They were friends with that sister that I hit, and they were willing to help me. They were willing to fix the car for that sister. We were out in service. What a loving thing to do, right? Because these are a people. God is love. We are supposed to be a people of love, right? That's what we are.
They didn't have to do it, but it's really
but
nice
so
of them to
loving,
do
right?
it.
Hold on. Apparently, she goes back and talks to her husband, and her husband calls the Kobe, who is the biggest pompous who doesn't care about anyone. And he tells her, the husband, I need to file with my insurance no matter what. So my dear friend, the one whose house it happened at, he always kind of spoke up for me like a big brother. And he calls that husband up and says, hey, man, you know, she doesn't have a husband. This couple's willing to help. Will you do it? Well, no, brother so-and-so said I did. And this is the same year as that Love Never Fails convention, ironically enough. Oh, it gets even better. I lose my privileges and we don't get to go to like the Western thing, or we don't get any privileges on anything because this accident was hanging over my head and they were judging how I was reacting on it.
Yeah.
So he says, no, I file the insurance. They get the check. That fool, that family never fixes their car. They go on vacation. Okay. Then a couple of months go by and I'm like, hey, why have I not heard anything about the international convention? Why have I not heard anything about our volunteer thing? We're 3 pioneers, right? So why wouldn't we qualify? If we qualify to pioneer, why wouldn't we qualify to help out at the assembly? Brother says, oh, let me look into it. Turns out, and then I get qualified immediately because it was absolutely ridiculous, but they were waiting to see how I handled that, and that all played out. Even though I never had any kind of bad interaction, I never said anything ugly to them. I never did anything to that family other than let me know what you want, and they never did.
That's a good example of how elders, if we assume that the Jehovah Witness organization were God's organization and the rule book was perfect and what everything elders did according to rule book was okay by default, then this would be an example of how elders can abuse the system because they were meddling in financial matters, which they absolutely are not allowed to do according to Watchtower. Because as soon as they say brother so-and-so should give money to sister so-and-so, this means that a judge could say that Watchtower is liable. So this is a big no-no that they are not allowed to do, and it's a good example that they do it anyway.
Oh, but guess what? That guy,
because you were willing to fix the damage on the car, but they say we don't care about a dent in the car. We just want cash because that's better. You know, I would do the same. If you put a dent in my car and someone give me $2,000, I would just drive happy around with my dent in your $2,000.
Right, but if you're a loving person, what about all this BS love crap?
Yeah,
JW Love Never Fails bull crap that was going on that year that everybody was talking about. Show the love. Show the love. Love never fails. A bunch of BS.
Love never fails, but love never need to be.
The love's never shown with them.
That's what
it never even. Yeah, it's not there at all. So that guy stayed a ministerial servant through it all. To this day, his car is still not fixed. Yeah, and whatever. But that was a big thing because it was absolutely ridiculous because you had 40 people sitting in this tiny living room on the busiest day of service, just so we could save a couple of pennies at the Kingdom Hall. When there's plenty of parking at the Kingdom Hall, what the heck are we paying for? So that got me thinking. And then the assembly got me thinking, and just things didn't add up. But you need to be obedient no matter what.
To me, it sounds like a career guy. When you meet the people who want to do a career in Watchtower, and they basically act like mid-level businessmen in any corporate thing. Like, we run through the numbers and we can say $1 here, $1 there. And then when they report to the guys upstairs, they say, and we saved $5 and the numbers went up and the pioneers are happy and we're closer to the territory. And we came quicker out in field service. They just make up all these wonderful numbers, like in any business, and they do a career.
Right, exactly.
I would guess you head bump. I don't know the word. You find one.
I did head bump because I did head bump because of the fact that when stuff doesn't seem right, I have a hard time going along. I'm a bad liar, so I can't fake it. I'm really bad at faking it, and that was the biggest problem. Like, when we started the Zoom meetings, I thought it was the stupidest thing in the world that they're making us turn our camera on and we have to be dressed to listen. Like, are you kidding? That has no effect on my ears. You need to see what's going on in my house? Hell no, you don't. It's none of your business. Like, and I couldn't fake it. It was hard. Like, only if we were commenting, we would turn the camera on, because I just thought it was absolutely stupid. Just more and more control. That's all they want.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So basically, you're still a witness this summer.
No. I'd say mine stopped with COVID hitting. I started really waking up.
Yeah.
No, actually before that, I'm sorry. My best friend got disfellowshipped, okay? She went and she confessed everything to the elders, right?
Yeah.
Right when that was happening, a high school boyfriend came and found me and was talking to me, and we were thinking about going out again. And so I was already like waking up and stuff because of something that had happened to my best friend's family. I had found out that the elders had ordered a family who had been sexually molested to not tell anyone about a convicted person in the congregation. That was another thing. That was a major thing that hit me when I moved to this congregation and I found out about it, because I had a friend that was in the same hall as that pedophile who had 2 little girls. That wasn't right. I have 2 little girls.
Yeah.
So how many pedophiles am I sitting next to in this Kingdom Hall, trusting, thinking I'm in Jehovah's house? And, so down the rabbit hole there. But anyways, my best friend went and confessed, and they said, we're not going to disfellowship you. And then she remembered some stuff, and she went back and told them, and they said, well, you're not really repentant, so we're going to disfellowship you now. And I thought that was complete BS. That almost instantly woke me up the rest of the way. But I respected her because she was heartfelt. She really was. And this is where I hope those jerks see this, because they caused her to wake up. They did it. Her family thinks it was me. Nope. We were both doing our own research separately because we were respecting the stupid arrangement. I did tell her, though, I said, no matter what, I love you. I'm here if you ever need me, because I never believed in that anyways. The only reason, and if my dad ever sees this, the only reason we respected the arrangement of disfellowshipping was because we were pissed off at him for screwing that hoe in the Italian congregation. So that's why we were pissed off at the way he treated my mom. We were pissed off that he cheated a second time. We were pissed off that he wasted my mom's life. That's why we shunned him, because he was a bastard.
Yeah.
But anyways, my best friend, so she called me at one point. She was really spiritual. I was like, damn it. And I was already waking up. I didn't say anything. I was like, sure, she wasn't sure if she was going to file for divorce from her worldly husband or not, but things were really good with them. And, obviously she was away from Watchtower, away from her family. So she did that. And I was like, okay, whatever you need me, let me know. I'll help you, whatever, blah, 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 right? So she turns in letter after letter after letter, heartfelt letters. They tell her at 9 months, Jehovah hasn't forgiven you. This little twin elder who got stuck in this congregation, who he hated going over there. You could tell he was pissed off, but he doesn't care about anyone. He tells her, Jehovah hasn't forgiven you, sister. Okay. So then 3 more months go by, 1 year mark, because that's their magic number. She's already checked after the 9 months. That's it. She's done. She's like, I gave it my all. She was, at one point, she was even suicidal. These brothers knew that, yet they disfellowshipped her. The year before that, she had an attempt. She hurt herself, went in the hospital. She poured her heart out in those letters to them, heartless. God's men, godly men, please. And then at a year with her BS letter, which was a half letter, like compared to all the letters she wrote heartfelt, you now have Jehovah's Holy Spirit. You are forgiven. Welcome back into the congregation. Well, we both faded out at the same time. But I was already faded out, actually, at that point. So because I faded out first, her family thinks I pulled her out or whatever. But
they always need an explanation, because
they always have to blame someone.
If this is the truth, and why would someone leave the truth? Well, it's a good question.
It makes me
they have
furious.
To blame someone.
Her furious because her family thinks she's stupid. They think she can't think for herself. when they're the ones not thinking for themselves. Her mom has no control over her kids. Her oldest daughter, who's legal age now, is sleeping around doing whatever the hell she wants, but then wants to Bible beat her younger siblings. And they're torturing the poor little teenager who's obedient, who has no freedom whatsoever. Like, oh, but this is all in the name. This is Jehovah's will. But my friend is the black sheep. She's the one that is wrong. She's the one that has always spoken from her heart. She's the one that's not toxic. She's the one that is always there for her mother. Yet her mother is too blind to see that. The rest of her kids are walking all over her. Not all of them. She's got a couple of good ones, but she comes from a big family. But because my best friend got baptized, she's being held accountable. She gets treated like crap. It's horrible. And she's the one that's always there for her mom, always ready to drop everything and be there. But they don't care about that because Watchtower says, same reason my aunt and uncle who never had children, I was the closest thing they had to a daughter. They will never speak to me again, especially after this, when they catch wind of this.
Yeah.
I will be dead to them. I was their only anything. My kids were their only attempt at grandchildren. They were so happy. But you know what they told me? They said, we will always support you as long as you remain in Jehovah's organization.
Yeah.
Serving Jehovah.
That's not love. That's love on condition. And conditional love is not love. That's prostitution.
True.
We love you on certain conditions.
Right. So, my kids have lost all of their friends, everyone they've known throughout their whole last 7 years childhood. I know. But they've come. My daughter is in sports now. She's doing amazing. She's a straight A student. My kids are happy. Of course, we still go through things. My son now has a wonderful girlfriend, and he's super happy with, and she treats him amazing. And my youngest is now, just living free and got to have her first birthday.
Oh.
Her first birthday party.
Yeah, so we started with Watchtower's birthday, and
yep, ended with my 10-year-old's birthday.
It is fascinating. It's a good example of how narcissistic this organization is, that they actually celebrated their own
100
birthday.
Years. They
We're
really
talking
did.
about a doomsday cult that say it's wrong for children to celebrate birthday, and they put in writing that children should not start to believe that they are something special. They should not learn to love themselves. But
No.
Watchtower, that's a printing company, are allowed to celebrate their birthday.
And real estate. Don't forget real estate company.
Yeah. So how was her first birthday? Was it guilt and shame?
Oh, no, it was amazing. It was amazing. She had her anime theme, her favorite cartoon theme, and I got her 2 bounce houses, and she had so many people there, and I got to bring her cake, and I just saw her face light up, and it was just the most amazing feeling, because this was her very first time. My other kids had it with their dad, when they were very young. But it was like, how can you tell me that this is wrong?
Yeah. So Watchtower, the idea with birth, well, obviously it's not in the Bible. There are angels were singing when Jesus were born and stuff like that, if the Bible were true. But and I think there's 4 birthdays in the Bible, not 2. But anyway, it's about the children should not learn to love themselves. And then also separate them from worldly kids. I think that's the big reason. Because if you go to worldly birthday, you get worldly friends. But
this is
sorry, I just have a question. Do you feel, because a lot of grown people that grew up in the Datut, they say we don't know how to accept gifts because we didn't learn that. Everything we know as grown up, at one point we have to learn it, and we never learn to be in the middle of a room and accept some praise and gifts and stuff like that. So if you try to make the gifts to me, it's a really awkward thing because I have difficult to accept a gift.
For me, gifts. My parents sometimes on their anniversary would give us presents. My mom tried to do the best she could with the circumstances we were in. So I wouldn't say gifts. I will say because of how Watchtower teaches us that we're nothing, that we're worthless. The hardest thing for me right now is accepting everything, that all the love and unconditional love that my boyfriend is giving me now in our relationship.
Hmm.
Every time he does something, I feel like I need to do something for it. I feel like I don't deserve it, or like, he's like, it's okay, or I feel like I need to serve him. And he's like, no, we serve each other, things like that. Like, I'm really bad about things like that. And I grew up in a Hispanic family. My mom, we took off my dad's shoes when he got home, we
Ooh.
seriously, yeah, he was in construction, so his boots were nasty. We rubbed my dad's back. We took off his socks and shoes every day that he came home. When he came home from assemblies, when he came quick builds, when he came home from work, every day.
Well, it's a
That's what
nice
we
thing
did.
to do.
But that wasn't
Depending on
like,
the
that was like, you
situation.
need to come do this. Like, but my dad treated us really bad
Yeah,
also.
okay, yeah, then it's not a
And he
nice thing.
wasn't nice to my mom. He didn't treat
No,
my
then
mom
it's
nice.
then he could have taken off his own shoes.
Yeah, and so when that's some of the things that, yes, good for nothing slaves, exactly, and that's some
Yeah,
of the things that,
that's
like,
so
my boyfriend reminds me
abusive
of.
to tell people that you should say. And by the way, it's actually Watchtower didn't come up with that phrase. It was Jesus. Everyone say Jesus is a good guy. It was actually, he came up with a lot of abusive things. He said, "You're," to his disciples, he said, "You are my friends if you do what I tell you." And that you should say that you're good for nothing slaves. That's
Right.
not a good friend. I'm sorry if there's some Christian people here. A lot of the stuff that Jesus said was really abusive.
It was, but compared, when you look at like the scribes and the Pharisees, which is how the elders are now, compared to the way Jesus basically was presented as being, there's such a big contrast right there, at least. And that's, I think, was a big key for me. I don't know where any kind of faith I might have is now. I know that the universe has not cursed me since I left Watchtower. I know I've been happier than I've ever been. Even people who have interacted with me are like, I see how different you are, Melina. Like, you are happy. You're genuinely happy. And I have never been like this. And my kids are happy. And so I know that them saying we're cursed when we leave is not true. And us being nothing and we can't be happy and we're worthless, that's not true either. So I'm working really hard to make sure my kids love themselves and know like how important they are. And I don't think that they were as brainwashed as I was, because they didn't have grandmothers constantly beating it and aunts constantly beating it on them, like I did. So I think my
Yeah,
kids are kind of going to come out a little less scathed than I am.
yeah. No, I'm much happier as an apostate than I was as a witness.
Me
And that's not
too.
because I don't have the truth or something. Like, then you actually thought that my happiness depends on a lot of things that I'm not in control of and the truth. But now I can just say, I don't know. I'm okay.
Right.
I don't know where the universe came from. And I'm okay with that.
And we don't need to have all the answers,
No,
because they
I
didn't
don't.
have any of the answers. And according to friends, they just made it up as they went.
Yeah. Reading the thing here. So there's someone called Carmen G that left the cult 3 months ago. So good luck. We have to congratulate her too. If
Congratulations.
she hasn't disassociated, she can come onto my channel next Saturday. First Saturday of every month is live disassociation. So if she can contact me, or anyone can contact me if they want to do that. So So tell us more. You you have a lot of stories.
Sorry.
I just have to
I
listen
know
now.
I do. Which one about my dad being the elder cheating on my mom all those years and
Well,
disfellowshipping
happy
people?
stories. We don't have
Happy
to.
stories. Um, as far as our first Christmas,
Yeah, that's a good story.
we had our
Probably.
first Christmas this year. We went to, we did go to my boyfriend's family's house, and they were so welcoming to my kids. Treated them just like family. And then we had it at my house. I had my brother and my cousins and my best friend. We all came together, and we had all our stockings. It was just amazing. Like, and there was nothing wrong with it. You know, it was kind of funny because when Christmas time came around, it got my mind thinking about the witnesses and how the only thing that they really do celebrate, even though we don't celebrate, they did it. We see bad habits. They didn't celebrate birthdays, they would celebrate baby showers. So anytime a baby is born, they throw these huge parties over here. They don't do that
Yeah,
over there?
I no, that's an American thing.
Okay, yeah, they throw huge baby showers. And it's
Okay.
like almost like a birthday party, you know, the baby's born. You're basically doing exactly what the wise men did for Jesus when they came and showered him with gifts.
Yeah.
And that is the one thing that witnesses in the United States and probably on this side of the North American continent do is they throw baby showers. It's just a big thing, but how hypocritical when they don't celebrate birthdays. So they'll only remember the very first time they're born, but nothing after that.
Hmm.
So that was something that got me when we were doing Christmas. But explaining it to my daughter and trying like, okay, we're doing Christmas now and birthdays. And they were all, she didn't question anything, but I tried to like transition. So it's just kind of been a challenge trying to find that middle ground, you know, because you're admitting you were wrong about everything and like we're just doing this for fun. Like there doesn't need to be some major meaning behind it. This is for our family. This is what we're doing as a family. Because right now we're not in any kind of religion. And right now the only person we're saying we answer to is God because we don't have to answer to anyone else or the
It's
universe.
kind of a small and stupid creator of the universe that care if someone celebrate birthday or not. It's like um,
Aren't there
I'm
bigger things to worry about?
yeah, it's really should be bigger things to worry about.
Yeah. Or if you're giving your kids gifts every year on this day.
Yeah, it's
The
really
anniversaries, yeah.
he's really insecure.
Yeah.
You know, you really have very low self-esteem if you walk around caring about what other people do to that manner that like kids cannot celebrate birthday because I wasn't
But
be, I wasn't invited on birthday when I was a kid, so no. It's so ridiculous.
it
My
is.
wife now, she always say when I comment this, and she just look at it, and she has this thing that she just say, it's such a loser religion. And she doesn't say that like negative that Jehovah Witnesses are loser, but a loser mentality like
Like you
I don't
lose.
have an education and I don't have, but I'm gonna have your house in and you know I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna go with Jesus and kill everyone in Texas and I'll take the biggest house and you see me and my big invisible friend and you'll
In the
be sorry
paradise.
when me and my it's such a loser mentality.
Yeah, it really is.
It's
It
like
really
me. I made
is.
a video about it when I'm thinking about how many people need to die for me to be the best ice hockey player on earth. You know, that's the kind of stupid thing you think. Like, what if
Yeah.
1 billion people died? Well, then maybe I would be the best hockey player. And basically, that's the whole Jehovah Witness religion. Stephen Letty sitting. If 7 billion people died, I would be the smartest guy on the planet. Yeah, you have literally have to kill 7 billion people to make you the most the best man for the job. As long as
Right.
7 billion people,
Right.
it's such
It's
a
so
loser
amazing.
thing with a loser
And
god that
everybody
cares
hangs
about
on
what
every
toys
word.
people are playing with.
They hang on every word that these men say. Well, the governing body said. Well, the governing
Yeah,
body said.
they look for any occasion to make food and eat. Yeah, it's pretty much what they're allowed to do. That's the
Oh
sad
my
thing
God.
because if
I've
you look
lost
at
100 pounds.
you did.
I've lost 100 pounds since I've left.
Oh, I don't know
Yeah,
what that means, but that's like
that's a
50
lot of
kilos.
money. Okay, so that's 200 kilos.
No, it can't be 200
What
kilos.
is it pound for? I thought it was double or half or.
No, I think it's half. 200
Oh
kilos.
no. Okay, so I lost
That's
50
like twice
kilos.
my weight.
I lost 50 kilos then.
50 kilo. Oh, well, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. Yeah, since I left Watch.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I've seen when people do. Okay, so guys,
Healthier,
we'll
healthier.
look the same all the time, you know. But many guys, brothers, we stop drinking when we leave.
Oh really?
Yeah, because
Yeah, because
you
it's like the
feel
only thing we
better
can
and you
do.
take control of your life. And when you left the cult and you're taking control of your life, then all of a sudden you see like quitting alcohol is not that difficult. It's just actually one of the easiest thing I ever done.
Well,
But I see when people post pictures of me as a witness and me later, and there's a lot of women that lose a lot of weight,
hmm yeah.
and I think it's kind of I don't know, but
I was
people eat
depressed.
comfort food because
Oh yeah,
you
definitely.
don't
Oh,
have
definitely.
control.
You eat your feelings away, and
Yeah, you eat your
that's what I
feelings away.
did. I ate
I
my
used to drink
feelings
my
away,
feelings away.
and that's not the answer, of course, and that's like the most horrible example to set for my girls. But yeah, no, it's and that's the only thing you can do is go out to eat and be with the friends. Like after 2 hours of sitting, then yeah, see, that's terrible. After 2 hours of sitting, you go out to eat for another 2 hours. So you're sitting 4 hours every other day, you know? Um, yeah, you gained weight. And actually it's funny because back in 2014, when I started going back, that's when I started gaining weight. I had been healthy too back then. Um, but no, you're also healthier mentally and it allows, 43. Yep. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a lot. So yeah, that's actually where I just hit at the end of this month. I hit my goal and it's not even been like I'm not killing myself. Like when I was in, I would like always be killing myself trying to lose weight, and I was just so miserable. But a lot of it was stress. It was so much stress. Like, what's this brother going to say to me, or who reported me to the elders now, or what did I do now? Or I had one sister come and approach me and we settled the matter, and then I hear about it like 8 months later. I'm like, who talked about it? Well, that was 8 months ago. Well, I never heard anything else about it, so what the hell? And every time, the one thing that's always thrown in your face is, you're a pioneer, you're a pioneer, you're a pioneer, you're a pioneer, you're a pioneer.
Yeah,
You need to be an example. So yeah, it was very bad for my mental health and for my physical health.
yeah, and then you believe that this is the only thing that makes me happy. It's the best thing in my life. Well, in fact, it's the opposite. It's the
It
worst
was the
thing.
worst thing for us. It was the worst thing for my family. It was the worst thing for any family. I feel horrible for the children that are stuck there. I don't I wish I could help, like there's ones that I really wish I could help, but I know that there's nothing we can do. Like, I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Well,
I've posted stuff and said that I'm there if you need me, like my number hasn't changed. Anyone who catches this, they can reach out to me if they need help. Like, you know, I'll help however I can. That hasn't changed about me.
yeah,
Like,
that's one of the reason when I offer people they can disassociate on my channel is because it's kind of okay if you just want to leave somewhere. It's okay to do that, but you don't have the opportunity to tell your friends. Like I probably let's say I had 100 Jehovah Witness friends. I have no opportunity to tell all of them. Most of them would not want
right.
to hear it, and but it's kind of fair to my friends that they can Google goat like personality and hear my side of the story. So now when they Google your name, if anyone wants to hear your name, your story, they can Google your name and find this video and hear your story and see that you're not, at least not evil,
Oh
because
no, I had a friend reach out to me. She's been disfellowship for years, but her family's all witnesses. They called her up and they said, Melina's gone crazy. She's lost her mind. I was like, oh really? I lost my mind? Really? Like, I'm like the calmest I've ever been, and I'm like the happiest I've ever been, and so I've lost my mind. Um, I have given into my Disney obsession, Mickey Mouse, but other than that, I don't think I've completely lost my mind because my childhood was. I need to read that actually.
Childhood
But
disrupted.
yeah, I think I'm gonna look that up. Um, I have been in counseling too, and I have talked with a counselor and kind of pinpointed certain things, and still have a lot of stuff to work through, obviously. But the funny thing is because I'm happy now, and I don't need the antidepressants anymore, and I don't. Yes, there is still some anxiety there because that doesn't just immediately go away.
No,
When you've lived 40 years, I just turned 40 in January. When you live 40 years of always being worried, whether you're around the corner waiting for your dad to show up and drive off with your mom, or you're scared of some brother or sister approaching you or saying something to you, like constant anxiety in the organization. Nobody can say that you don't have nonstop anxiety. I know this one family that was in my congregation, and I mean, that's all you ever heard from this woman was anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. And now that I'm out and awake, I'm like, girl, you need to just leave because that's your problem.
yeah.
It's the organization. She made her husband come in. He came in. He got baptized and came in during the years that I was active, and he became a witness.
You,
And
you remember when we were walking around from door to door selling, awake. It was every issue was an issue,
yes, please go ahead.
environmental, health. It was a problem, but we were always like, oh, there's a problem with the ocean, blah blah blah, ocean, blah blah blah. Solution: become a Jehovah Witness, wait for paradise. It was if it was like r- rainforest, rainforest. Solution: become a Jehovah Witness and wait for Jehovah. So when you grow up, you believe that every problem is because you're not a Jehovah Witness.
Yeah, and I
And then
did
you
when I
learn that
left.
in family life, every problem is because it's not a threefold cord. And and every problem is have anxiety, give more to Watchtower.
Yeah,
And like I told before, my ex-wife, she left me, and we had a good relationship if it weren't for the Watchtower. And she said, I love you, but I love them more. She literally said she loved me when she left me, but she loved the elders more often. And I have two more siblings that were left by their spouse or left their spouse.
mhm,
Like my sister left her husband, according to my other brother that
right.
I spoke to, and he said
Mhm.
she left her because my brother-in-law wasn't taking lead spiritually, and my another brother was left by his wife because he wasn't taking the lead spiritually. It's a non-existing problem.
Yeah.
Imagine if you
No.
meet a normal person that say, I love my husband, but according to the Catholic Church he wasn't Catholic enough, so I had to leave him. It's not a real problem, it's a made-up problem.
No. The abuse is a real
the,
problem.
the whole idea with the
The trauma.
threefold cord is ridiculous, and it's not really in the
Yeah.
Bible. It talks about friendship, that it's a good thing to be friends and have two are good, three is better. It's nothing about that. The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society should be in your marriage.
Or in your marriage bed or in your relationship. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Like if you have
They've
problem
put
with your
themselves
husband, you
in
should talk with the
everything.
elders.
Right.
No, you should talk to your
No.
husband.
You should.
Nah, it's really sad, but I'm glad you're
So
out. So what your
thank
kids
you.
doing now? They're going to college?
Well, we did try, and this is why I'm talking about it because there was no way we were going to fade away quietly since we were pioneers and in a foreign language group. So it's like, why am I going to hide anything? Because if I can help someone, great. My kids, my middle one is now getting ready for college. She's in sports. She's playing volleyball, basketball. She's about to do possibly soccer. She loves it. She's super happy. My oldest son is doing like improv workshops, comedy. He's working full time. He's got a great girlfriend that he met at the improvs, and she's adorable. And they are, I mean, they're a great little couple, and I'm really proud of my son. And then my youngest is in Girl Scouts, which those in the United States, I don't know if you know about Girl Scouts, but I got her to get in that so she can get a little more community, make some more friends. And both my girls are no longer homeschooling. They're actually in school. So they
That's good. Yeah, I said
um,
no homeschooling thing. I meant.
yeah. So they're in school. They love it. They're doing great. And it's just been a great transition so far.
Yeah.
So my kids, yeah, they're doing good.
Yeah, and I really wanted all of them to be interviewed, but they were
I
smart enough
know, but they're
to decline.
teenagers and they were like really shy about being on camera.
Yeah.
But they didn't mind me talking about it because when I talked to them, I told them that I felt like I do want to talk about it. And like you said, I do have a lot of stories from being an elder's daughter to everything that's gone on with my mom and my brother and me and even the past 6 years being in the religion. There's been so much stuff that's happened. And I've actually like I start writing it down. And like for instance, my father didn't give me away at my wedding because I was pregnant. But he had already cheated on my mom, never confessed it, and was hiding that. But he could not go to my wedding or give me away.
Yeah, some people do that.
And then
It's
he had a part about it. He had a part about it on the meeting, bragging about it, telling everybody about how he had to be faithful to Jehovah.
yeah, it's
Things like that.
faithful to you. Well, first
But
of
it
all,
wasn't.
in
But it
Europe, it's
wasn't.
extremely politically incorrect to give away your daughter because that's something they did
Oh,
in
really?
old days when women were seen as property.
Right.
So giving away your
Well, over
daughter
here,
is
they still walk
basically,
you down. They walk you down, and
yeah, I
yeah,
know, and some people do it here, but it's like
it's like
in
old
Europe
school.
it's seen as really tacky and old and
Well, all the
anti-feminine.
things that come after that are like, father daughter dance, things like that you do in the reception area with your family and stuff like that. But my dad like had to go and tell everybody about how my mom went to my wedding, and he didn't because he was faithful to Jehovah. And he had a part in the ministry school about it, and his test of faith against his pregnant sinner daughter
Yeah, that's really.
when he
And
was hiding
he
an
was
affair.
cheating on his wife.
He was cheating on my mom.
Yeah, it's always a nice thing to do.
Yeah. So
No,
right now
so
my plans are going through.
I try to have some questions to ask everyone,
Oh,
and I
definitely.
never
Please.
asked you about this before, but so you just have to wing it now. If you would sum up your Jehovah Witnesses with one scripture in the Bible, which one would that be?
If I could sum up
If
Jehovah's
you would if
Witnesses.
you would use the Bible, if you pick up a Bible and you find a scripture that reminds you of Jehovah Witnesses,
Oh, yes. I
good
know
or
exactly
bad,
which one.
what would that be?
Okay. Do you remember the scripture in Jesus where in the Bible where Jesus says, "But Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and did we not do glorious works in your name, and did we not perform great things in your name?"
Yeah.
And Jesus says, "I never knew you. Get behind me, you workers of lawlessness."
Yeah,
That's the witnesses right there.
that is a good scripture.
Because in all essence, every time I talk to someone on my way out, they all have these little altercations that they make being a witness
Yeah.
that if the governing body knew, they would not be a witness. They would be bad association. From the housewife that gets drunk every time, to the elder's wife who hates all the elders, to the elder who plays Pokemon, to the elder who plays Star Wars games, to all of those things that do not qualify them, to the pioneer brother who's going to college. All of those things, everybody makes their own little whatever, but it would not be in line with the governing body and what they want. But everybody's making their own exceptions.
Yeah, it's fun to make exceptions. Well, one thing I actually came to think about now that I never thought about before,
Mhm.
and I should actually apologize, but that's just me being a male. I many times thought Watchtower always say that like the best advice how to raise children is from the Watchtower literature. That's
Mhm.
basically written by governing body
Men.
members that never had kids of their own.
Mm-hmm. Or
And
Bethelites who are married in Bethel, never had
yeah,
kids. Yeah.
so they give advice about how to raise children, and most of them
They're the
never have
experts.
kids of their own. And that's kind of, and they say, well, it's based on the Bible. No, you write an article, like could be in any, and then just sprinkle some scriptures on it. Like
Right. And I think
communication is
that's,
important, then you can find a scripture. But now I just realize they also write a shitload of articles telling how to be a woman.
oh yeah.
And I never realized that before.
Or what it's like to be a
And
woman
I
and what
maybe
we
should
go through.
apologize for that.
Yeah, they do. They can tell
But
us what it's like.
sorry, I just have to ask, because I've been aware of them writing articles about how to raise children for decades now and being annoyed at it. But how is it to read articles about how to be a sister when you know it's been written by men? Is that
You should be
annoying,
asking my
or is
daughter
it
that
just you
because
can
she's the
live
one
with
that
it
gets
because you have to?
it's annoying, it's irritating, but it's mostly because it's not just reading about what they expect of women, it's living it day to day.
Yeah.
And how we're supposed to be submissive and oh, I know this is how you feel. No, you don't know how I feel. You don't know. So they try to tell us what we're going through or how we feel or what it's like when they really don't know. And then they give advice in there saying, oh, help each other out or do that. Ain't nobody trying to do none of that stuff. Come on. They're some of the most selfish people you will ever meet.
I just have to answer this question. No, I don't and never will. So please
come
don't ask
on.
it again.
Don't be like that.
Well, it's if someone asks me, I can say no, but please don't ask again. So I'll put Craig in 5 minutes timeout. But I'm not blocking him.
Right.
Because it's not a cult. But you're in a 5-minute timeout. Shame on you. But, well, it's okay question to ask. But. No, so this was a lovely interview.
Thank you. Thanks for hearing me out. Sorry, I kind of ramble.
No, it's good because I have the problem that I interrupt people and start talking. That's what people tell me, I talk too much, and they are absolutely true. But I live in the middle of nowhere. We're surrounded by worldly people. So it feels so fun to start talking with someone because we do have a lot of things in common.
Definitely.
So it's really easy to start talking. And this is my favorite because I have 4 names on this list, including 5 with Carmen G. But I don't know her situation, so we can't disassociate her. But she can contact me, or anyone that wants to disassociate on my channel. I have a gavel, and you can be disassociated. Just contact me, but I have it every first Saturday. So now we'll have a disassociation. Let's say Melina Collinen. Is that correct? Yeah. Melina Collinen is no longer one of Jehovah Witnesses. And then we take the kids. Isaiah, Jordan, and Kayleen Collinen are no longer Jehovah Witnesses. How does it feel?
It feels good. We're happy.
It does.
We're good. We are very good.
Kingdom,
and
my
we're
lady.
happy finally.
Yeah.
And we're a family, and that's the most important thing. I have my
That's
kids,
the most
and that's
important.
all I care about.
Yeah. And you have to be good apostates. Otherwise, I will personally reinstate you.
We will. Don't you dare.
Are you Finnish?
Yes.
What do you mean Finnish? No, I'm Swedish. I guess that's what you mean.
Oh,
but I live in
I'm
Norway.
American.
So, Laura, that's hysterical. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone, for watching Goat Like Personality. And I think this has a thing for the blah, blah, blah. XM community being able to tell your story when you leave, because otherwise everyone starts a YouTube channel and there's too much competition for me. So
and I am, if you don't mind, my Instagram is Melly_and_kiddos. So any XJWs, please DM me if there's anything, or anybody, please, if you need help, I'll be happy to help.
Yes, and your friends in the congregation, brothers and sisters,
What would I
friends
tell
to your
them?
kids and everyone, you can give a greeting to them and tell them what you
Okay.
message and how they can contact you if they want to contact you.
Um, okay, if I can say a message to them.
Yeah.
No, I didn't go crazy. I love you all very much. That was never a lie. Um, I'm always going to be here if you need help. My number never changes and it never will. My email has not changed.
Hmm.
If you need me, I'm there, because just because you make your choice just like I made my choice.
Yeah.
And just know that this was all for a very good reason, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it whenever you're ready. And if
Yeah.
not, just please be happy and make sure you know why you're doing what you're doing. Do your own research. Don't wait for me or anyone else to tell you. Look for yourself.
Yeah. Any reading recommendations you would give them?
You know, I know it's
Crisis of
really
conscience.
sad. Crisis of conscience is the one thing growing up they said, do not touch. Look at it, read it. Everything that we put faith in the governing body, we find that it was not even really formed. It was never in existence. There is no governing body. They just created it as a corporation, as a freaking, board members. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Voting. Nothing's been based on spiritual matters or prayer or anything. Those men barely even read their Bibles, and he says it. So, guys, do your research. I love
Yeah.
you all.
Yes. And you will not out them if they contact you.
And of course not. No,
Yeah.
I would
That's
never.
what they're often
No
worried about.
one would
They'll come
ever.
like
All we
this
want. No, no, no. It's
with
safe.
sunglasses. Okay,
It's
so
safe.
thank you everyone, and thanks for the super chats. And
Bye. Thank you so much,
yeah,
guys,
and say
for
hello
the
to your
time.
kids from us because I
I
think
will.
we're still brothers and sisters. The governing body can't change that.
No,
So
we're
say
still
hello from
family.
Uncle Goat like in Norway. Okay.
I will. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
So thank you very much, and see you in paradise.